So I said, that's not a woodland meadow full of soft magical creatures. That's my wife. Oh shit, I hit record.
That's really what
Hey
you let
everybody.
off with.
Yeah.
That was your big
Yeah.
thing. You've been talking
That
about it for
took-
10 minutes, how you've had this huge, super funny thing that you were going to say at the beginning of the show, and that was it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I assume I can't hear your laughter through these headphones that I have, but I assume that you were laughing super hard when I explained the joke, and then when I finished the joke, it's like after you explain something, it's not funny anymore. But
Yeah, that's a good point. I did find it pretty funny when you first brought it up.
yeah, when I detailed, hey, I wrote this joke down, and here are all of the nouns and adjectives and adverbs.
And that's why we
And then
don't
here's the
prep.
punchline.
It's funnier when it's just, improvisation.
Exactly. Like, if I just come up with that off the top of my head, that's fucking stupid, Who would do that?
Yeah, who would do that? I mean, what kind of idiot would do that?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know, and I apologize. I bungled this entire intro.
I don't think you bungled
Anyway.
it. I think it's enhanced.
Well, I hope the listeners are enjoying it. And hello, listeners. Welcome to the show. I'm Elliot. I'm here this week with Skylar. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff and things, and we're going to see where it goes. I had a couple ideas and I wrote them down, because I was eating a fortune cookie. And it cracked it open, and it said something really, inspirational and cool, and then I tried to write something on the back of it. And then I put it in my jeans and then washed them, so, so that was what I had planned for the show.
We were going to riff
And
on a
that's gone.
fortune cookie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks that you washed them.
Right?
You know those
I
things
mean,
pretty much stay clean forever, right? You don't need to wash your jeans.
I don't have to wash my jeans?
You don't have to wash your jeans. It's just a lie perpetuated by the government, by big soap, by big laundry detergent. They want you to use that water. They want you to run that water bill up. They want you to run that energy bill up.
Oh, shit. And big water must be in on it, too, then.
Yes.
Holy shit.
So as my advice to you people, don't wash your jeans. I mean, come on. How dirty are they getting?
Stop washing your jeans, everybody. You're killing the planet.
You're literally killing the planet by washing your jeans. You know who washed their jeans? Hitler. Just saying.
Hitler. His Levi 501s with his sleeves rolled up.
He probably wore skinny
Hair
jeans
slicked
too.
back.
I mean, he was probably into
Probably
that
wore
whole
skinny jeans.
that whole counterculture.
Yeah, they were the red acid washed skinny jeans too. He would wear the combat boots with the spike, but they weren't spikes. They're like the little pyramid studs.
Oh yeah. No, Mom, this is not just a phase.
When I say final solution, I mean final, not temporary.
Welcome to the Midwest Scumbag Podcast, people. Your number one source for Hitler-related jokes and other funny things that are funny to us.
Yeah, that was... I didn't think we were going to go full Hitler right at the beginning.
No one ever thinks they're going to go full Hitler. I don't even think Hitler thought he was going to go full Hitler, but...
Man.
when in Rome, do as...
Exactly. If they paint you as a monster, you're like, well, I might as well be a monster. That's... Yeah, that's the moral of a lot of stories as a kid, is if you're the bad guy, be the bad guy.
The bad guy, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I took from Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf of the series, and it was yeah, he ate the grandma because that's what wolves do, and he was acting with his true nature. Not like Red Riding Hood, who was lying to herself her whole life and delivering cookies to some old bag who didn't even visit, frail weak old woman.
Also, wolves' nature is to disguise as little old ladies.
Yeah, he was just acting by his nature.
It was how he was
Dress
born. It
up
was
as
genetics.
an old lady. That was his destiny. He popped out of his mother wolf with all of his other, I don't know, cub buddies in his litter. And
I think they're
the
called a
wolf mother
clutch.
looked at him. A clutch?
No.
No, a clutch of wolves. That sounds-
Yeah, it does. It sounds wrong, but it also sounds right. And that's all that matters.
I mean, yeah, because it sounds cool, and like wolves are cooler than like dogs. That's the rule. Like, I mean, dogs are cool in their own right, but they're
not
you
wolves.
know, they're not wolves.
No.
Yeah.
No. Far from it.
Yeah.
Far removed, actually.
Yeah. You think like dogs were really just like the beta wolves? Because dogs are supposed to have been evolved from wolves, right?
I mean, wolves would be
But
the
we-
beta dogs.
But we still have wolves.
Oh,
Like, they didn't change.
but we also have monkeys, too.
Yeah, you're right.
And they were just the beta human, but they evolved differently.
Oh, so like the beta would be the one who doesn't evolve. Because then they would die. But they're still around.
I mean, the beta would be the precursor to 1.0.
Oh, okay. You were talking...
Oh, I see. Okay.
You were talking
yeah,
technology
yeah,
beta.
all right. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
The whole time I was speaking like dynamics of alpha versus beta.
Okay, and I was speaking
In
in
a
terms
social-
of like technology and a beta program comes before, you have
Yes,
the 0.7,
yeah,
0.8,
wow.
and then 1.0 eventually. Boom, baby, humans. Alpha and Omega.
Damn. That one's for all our technology fans, all of our CS majors out there. That little mix-up was for you.
Yep.
Because now I don't know where you actually stand on wolves because I was I was
I'm
following a
ambivalent
different
about
line
wolves.
of thinking.
I feel nothing either
Yeah.
way. They exist. I
Yeah.
exist. We exist together.
Indeed. We do. I think they're cool, but they're terrifying.
Are they cool
like,
enough to get a tattoo of?
Ooh, almost. It's very tempting. Very tempting to get a wolf tattoo, but it's like a wolf that's coming out of a scratch marks,
Oh,
It looks
yeah.
like 3D. Like Blades of Glory style. Essentially that joke.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as original comedy, you guys.
It's all been done. Everything has been done.
Everything's been done. So we're here to just rehash the best of it.
Pretty
Just
much.
highlights, and we're like the what I've noticed of social media changings is like everything is trying to be TikTok now. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're
so
right.
We're kind of like whatever that version of I don't know, podcasting, I guess. We just take the best bits of everything and bungle them.
That's what we do. That's how we prep. For each of these
yeah.
episodes. That's our mindset going into this. That's the creative process, as some people call it.
Yeah, some people call it that.
They're
I
dicks,
call it a Tuesday night.
but
Ha ha. Wow, it actually is Tuesday. That was
yeah,
I didn't
it is
even realize
Tuesday. I mean, it's Saturday, the day we usually record.
right. Yeah,
This episode's just
totally-
coming out late.
Mhm.
It will be coming out late because we do what we want.
Yeah, but we always stick to our schedule all the time,
Always.
forever, and we never are not consistent with uploading episodes.
We don't take a whole month
So-
off without saying anything to our audience
Nope.
about it. We don't do that.
That's not us.
That's not the
That's not
scumbag
us.
way.
That's you don't come to the show to be comforted by a new episode every Saturday or Sunday at 1 a.m. or something like that. You come here for whatever other reason, I'm pretty sure it's not that reason. It's whatever reason. Fill in the blank. Why you listen to us is your own business, and I'm not gonna pry into it. God damn it! I just said it, and I'm
Are we gonna do that
aware
again?
of it
Because
again.
that went
Yeah,
throughout
we're
the
gonna
whole
do that again.
episode last time.
Yeah. Eventually, I forgot halfway through listening back, so I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna try and. It's the last of that conversation.
It's okay to use filler. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
The human
It's
language isn't perfect. Sometimes we fill in the blanks with just random bullshit that just comes to mind. I mean, like I said, and that could be used as one of those random bullshit things.
Yeah, and that's okay.
There's probably a term for it. There's probably a proper There's probably a proper term for what those are called. I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to Google it right now because I don't feel like it.
There's a proper term for them at least in English grammar.
And maybe even Chinese grammar, but I don't know that.
Probably in Chinese grammar. I don't know. Chinese is scary because it's kanji all the time. As I'm learning Japanese, it's kind of like, okay, kanji is still kind of scary, but if you're reading normal Japanese writing, there's a mix of they use kanji and hiragana and katakana, so it's like, okay, I can recognize those. It's not as terrifying. But then you look at some Chinese and it's like, oh, this is all kanji? Okay.
Have you ever seen Vietnamese language? How that's written?
Oh, no.
It's crazy.
I don't think I have.
I have an aunt who's Vietnamamese, so I lived with her her and my uncle for a number of years, and I picked up absolutely nothing. I don't think I learned a damn thing from her, other than that sticky rice and pork with like a certain kind of sauce on it. It's really good.
Ooh.
I don't know what kind of sauce, but man, she made some bomb ass stuff. Anyway, I did see her writing, and it's like really weird. It's like every single word is or every letter. I don't know if they're called letters, but like everything is connected. It's really crazy.
Huh. That's wild. It's
not Vietnamese.
Thai.
Thai. I'm sorry. Wow.
Oh, Thai.
God, I'm
okay.
awful.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah,
my
that's
aunt,
okay.
if you're listening to this, which you probably aren't.
No,
But you're Thai.
She's actually one of our biggest fans. She listens.
God,
to
that'd
every
be
episode,
hilarious because like.
But she still hates you. She
yeah,
just
she
hates.
just doesn't like
listens.
me. Spoiler
She
alert,
just got
folks!
so
I got
used to your
kicked out
voice.
from my aunt and uncle's place because of her mainly. I think I can say I'm pretty sure she doesn't listen. It'd be weird if she did.
Yeah. She'll pick it up once we're as famous,
Like
as we
crazy,
claim
super
to be now.
famous, and she's like, "Wow, I
Yeah.
shouldn't have kicked him out. If I had known he was going to be making $1 million a day off his shitty podcast."
Yep. When we're the Joe Rogans,
Yes.
then she'll listen. But she's probably not gonna, listen to our back end episodes.
No, it'll all be
Only a
like
super fan does
the
that.
super popular ones where we have like Bill Nye the Science Guy and I don't know, like Chelsea Manning or something. I don't know. We'll have some weird ass people on.
Yeah. I want to get the guy who does the voice of the Geico Gecko. I think that would be a cool interview.
I want the ghost of the Three Stooges.
Ghost of the Three Stooges would be excellent. We get a medium. I could find a spooky medium chick who'll come in and we can contact the ghost of the Three Stooges.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome, actually. Like I want that to happen.
They'd be all like, "Oh, let me talk to my loved ones. Let me talk to my family right now," and be like, "Do slapstick. Come on.
Yeah.
Do the thing where you pinch his nose."
Yeah. Tell me about the scene where you take a saw blade to Curly's head, and I always wondered why he didn't bleed. Is there?
Oh yeah, there was like that one time when like they did that pen gag and like the pen actually got stuck in dude's forehead. Like, man, shit was dangerous back then.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on. But I want to know the lore behind the Three Stooges. Like, why? Why were they Stooges?
Why were they 3?
Why
not
why is it
2?
just the 3? Mm-hmm. I think 'cause 3's the perfect round number.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a
I
really
agree.
good number.
It's why
It's a
we'll never be
triangle.
elevated, because we don't have a third. We don't have,
Yeah.
the third guy to riff off of. I mean,
No.
one of us would have to be the obvious dumb guy, like the slapstick dude, and one guy would be like the smart straight dude, and not like straight as in sexual orientation, but the straight, the straight man.
He has to be smart, but he can't be straight.
He
That's
has
the
to
thing.
be gay.
Yeah. You have to admit to being gay if you want to be the smart guy on our show. Yeah. That's why this is a show about 2 dumb dudes.
That just talk about stuff. That just talk about things and stuff.
Yeah. A lot of video game talk. I've been playing basically nothing but Triangle Strategy since it's come out. And it's insane. There's so much. I'm at 35, just under 35 hours, and I'm
Wow.
only on chapter 13. And I looked up a guide maybe around chapter 6 or 7 just to see, like, I didn't look up steps, but I was just like, how long is this game? And I read an article that said, like, oh, each playthrough is about 19 chapters, but there's also like a golden playthrough where you can, if you make all of the quote-unquote correct choices or do all of the investigations 100%, get all the clues and do all of the conversations right, that there's like 21 chapters. So
Wow. That's a long game.
yeah there's no way I'm getting a golden playthrough on your first run without like a guide for sure. It's there's a lot there's a lot to it, but I'm enjoying it. I really dig it.
That's good. How's the strategy? That's the meat of the game. Well, I'm sure the meat of the game is the story, but the part the players want is the,
is the battles. Yeah, it's
How's
the
that part of
strategy.
it?
It's actually really sweet. It sets up pretty much what it is, and this is probably an oversimplification, but it's like a super complex chess game where everything is a square grid, but it's expanded out, and there's terrain that you can't go on, and but it's still all in kind of one big square or rectangle area, and then your pieces, your dudes are all set in air, but like some battles are you being ambushed, so you're flanked on 2 sides and you're in the middle, or you're split down the middle and your party split, and you have to set them up in a way that they'd be balanced and not just get straight up killed. It's really good. I think personally the strategy part of it, fantastic. It's expanded my brain into a way that I think in grid pattern strategies now.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how would you rank it versus Fire Emblem, which is the only thing I can measure it against?
Yeah.
Besides like Final
versus
Fantasy
like
Tactics
Awakening
or something like that.
or yeah, see, and I never played Final Fantasy Tactics, so I couldn't tell you on how that compares. But
in terms of like actual how much you have to strategize versus just
it's definitely on par with what Fire Emblem brings, if not a little bit more complex, because there's instead of like I'm trying to think of like Awakening system at least. Three Houses was really good, but it didn't feel as I didn't have to worry about status conditions and poisoning and running out of like action points of using skills, and there's a lot of that in Triangle Strategy. You have to position yourself. Positioning is like super 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 important.
Is there
Whereas
permadeath?
Fire Emblem, no, there's not.
Okay.
Um, there is a hard setting, but I can't remember if there is a permadeath toggle. I think you could probably figure it out if you were super into it. But no, there's is plot wise there like can't be permadeath for characters, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because it's very super plot heavy, so that's kind of unfortunate that probably takes away a little bit of the tenseness of if a character dies, they're not gone for good. You're not if Sarah Noah gets beaten in battle, it's not like the main character of the game is dead and there's no depending on the mission, you can't have him fail, but most of the time it's like as long as you have one person left and you finish the objective of the battle, you'll get through it.
Okay.
But the XP system works pretty much the same as Fire Emblem, that they get XP for if they do actions. They won't get XP if they're super overpowered over something, or if they just use the same thing over and over. I think you have to vary the skills they use and stuff. I could be wrong. That could just be my thought. But I really dig it. The story part can drag for sure if you don't care to read a bunch of lore and listen to people talk about salt and iron and trade routes and weird weird medieval politics stuff. But
okay,
yeah, pretty much the takeaway that I get from the story is just don't trust anybody. That's what I'm getting from, like, that was sort of the moral of Game of Thrones. Just don't trust anybody. It's yeah, even if you think they're your friends, they might, and probably if they have the ability to betray you, they're probably gonna betray you.
Everybody's out for their own.
Yeah, there's no such thing as like peaceful cohabitation amongst humans. Everybody, yeah. So it's sort of a downer, but
yeah, it's a good life lesson.
Yeah.
Someone can take advantage of you for their own benefit, they will.
Or rather, like, place your trust in, like, a dozen of your closest companions who have a good variable of skills and abilities that would balance out in a tactical battle situation.
That is also true, yeah. That's how I live my life. I always assume I'm going to be put into a situation where I have to command 5 to 7 of my closest comrades in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Turn-based Mortal Kombat. It's just a daily situation that people live through. And
it is. It's very normal.
Be prepared for it.
It's very human.
Speaking of human, how's Elden Ring treating you?
Very good. It's a big game. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's a very big game. I'm 50 hours into it, and I've only beat 2 of the major bosses out of like 5, maybe 6. I don't know. I feel like there's probably going to be another. There's 5 like big bosses that for sure are the major ones, and I'm gonna say there's probably a 6th one after that. Whether or not it's like some kind of like FromSoft games, they have multiple endings. And sometimes one ending is better than the other, and you have to work really hard for it. And there's usually something extra at the end. But I mean, it's huge. I mean, and I've just been spending a lot of time exploring, looking for all the little dungeons and stuff that there are scattered across the world.
Man,
I mean,
he said it was like super open world, even in comparison to like Dark Souls, which is pretty open world, but you have paths that you have to take,
Yeah, I mean, for like a good example is like the first thing that when you step out of the tutorial area, after you get, more than like you're going to get bodied by the first thing you come up against. It's a scripted death, it's a staple of the series.
Yeah, yeah.
So after you come out of that area, you can see where you started. You might not know it at the time, but you can see where you started. You can see where you're supposed to go. You can see or like where your main objective is. You can see where your next objective is. Then you can see like side objectives, just all across the map. This is just like stepping out of the first area and looking around. And there's an NPC to talk to, of course, once you step out. But it really opens up. I mean, just right out of the gate. My first like 20 minutes or so, I ran into a dragon.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. There's so much in the world to discover between like little villages that all have their own little stories, that you can kind of parse together. And it's never up front. It doesn't give you lore up front, but you'll find an item, pick it up. It'll say something about, oh, this was like an errant knight or this belonged to a group of errant knights who betrayed the Lord or something like that. It's just, there's so much to it. And
damn.
I feel like if you know what you're doing, you could probably beat the game in less time than I've played it. But because I've just been looking around and searching everything, spending time exploring, it's accumulated up to 50 hours. There are people that are already speedrunning it. I mean,
jeez. There's also people who get paid to play video games all day.
Obviously, yeah, like reviewers that got review copies a week beforehand, so they got to play a whole bunch of it. I've been taking my time with it.
Yeah.
It's just how I enjoy games. It's how I played Skyrim. I don't think I beat the main story of Skyrim until I was like 60 hours into it,
Dude, I don't think I ever completed the main story.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a game you can literally speed run. Like, you can do the main story in maybe under 10 hours, but there's just so much shit to do.
Damn. Yeah.
But unlike Skyrim, really you don't get, like, quests. I mean, you do get quests, but they're not, like, they don't put it on your mini-map. It's like you talk to an NPC, and they're like, oh, well, I want you to deliver this letter to my dad at this castle. And you're like, well, where the fuck is this castle? Eventually you come upon it. And then it's like 50-50 if you find the person that they want the letter delivered to, because it's in an area that's hidden behind some boxes, behind an ill-story wall. There's just, it's crazy.
Sneaky,
and I mean, that's,
sneaky.
And that's not even going into like how you can build your character. There's so much room for, like, if you want to play a huge tanky strength dude, you can. If you want to be like a ninja, yeah, you could do that too.
Man.
You want to be a spell sword? Do it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's just I mean, it's insane. It's I don't want to say it's like a revolutionary game, but for the genre, for the Souls-like genre, I would say it's pretty revolutionary.
Nice. God damn. I'm waiting on my Steam Deck to get it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely yeah. I mean, if you got time to play it in between stuff while you're, or on the go, I mean, it's a great game for that.
Yeah.
If you're just like, you just like look at something, you're like, hey, I want to go explore that area over there. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find something.
Man. Just beautifully crafted.
It is, and it's a very good looking game too. I mean, it's yeah, it's something else. I kind of wonder how much input George R.R. Martin had. Like, I really wish they would come out and say, like, what he did. Because it's like, I feel like he built the lore of the world. And then, Miyazaki came in and he was like, okay, well, this guy is like the lowest rung on the ladder, but let's just say that he likes to graft people onto his body. Like, George R.R. Martin did like a typical fantasy thing, and then Miyazaki was like, well, let's turn it into body horror shit. That's the feel I get, because the lore is really good. It's there. There's a lot of political intrigue and shit. But then there's also like the crazy, just Dark Souls shit that we've come to know and love.
Yeah.
Just grotesque things that should not exist, Lovecraftian horrors. I really like how the magic system is set up. It's instead of magic being like innate, something people are born with, it's because like comets fell to the earth and people studied them, and so they gained the knowledge of the stars.
Oh.
And that's how the magic system works.
So it's like astrologically based arcane magic?
Yes.
That's sweet.
Yeah, basically. So, yeah, the lore is really good, too. I mean, it's there. Probably the strongest in the Souls series, I would say.
Oh, nice. Is that including Sekiro?
Sekiro's kind of a weird outlier. Its lore is, it's self-contained. It doesn't really...
Okay.
Same with Bloodborne, I'm sure. Bloodborne's kind of self-contained too, but Souls, they all kind of fit together in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. That makes sense. I never got around to playing Dark Souls 3, but I think I talked about how I beat 2 and didn't beat 1. But I read a little bit, at least I feel like I understood a good chunk of the lore in 2 and how it was like way in the future of 1, but it was in a different area. Drang Lake is a different entity and stuff. I couldn't recall it off the top of my head now.
Yeah, that's about right.
That it was in the same area, or same, like, it was on the same world as Lordran, right?
Yes, it's set farther. Yeah, you're right. It's set farther in the future. That's what the whole Scholar of the First Sin. He was a scholar that specifically was like, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was specifically like he was studying Gwyn in the First Flame, which is Dark Souls 1, which the first sin would have been Gwyn, and his whole rekindling the flame.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, Dark Souls 1, all the fire stuff, it was embers and low flames and things like that, bonfires, but 2, the fire stuff they were just, like, flickers, like little firefly remnants of the ashes and things like that.
And 3 is the fires dying out, finally.
Oh. Because it
thing.
has the dude on the cover with the thumbs up, but he's like dropping sand.
Yes, I believe that's the Lord of Cinder.
Oh.
So, but I mean, it goes even farther into that with Yeah, I won't going any farther into it is spoiler territory with the DLC of Dark Souls 3, but I will say Dark Souls 3 DLC is like amazing. I mean, it's so good.
Man,
so good.
okay.
And it ties everything together in a nice little pretty bow.
Nice. So Dark Souls 3 is worth playing for sure?
Oh, absolutely. Very much so.
Okay. I'll add it to my list after after I get through Sekiro, after I make more progress in Bloodborne. Yeah,
Bloodborne's one.
I'm real bad
man
about completing these games. I'm super bad about being disheartened and abandoning them.
Yeah,
I'll get back on it.
I know what you mean.
Once I finish Triangle Strategy.
Sekiro especially. My God, the final boss of Sekiro is just a bitch. It took me so long.
Oh, man.
I eventually had to cave and look up a guide, like not a cheese guide, but like
some like tips.
Yeah.
Hey, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Yeah.
And just kind of throwing myself at it repeatedly for hours every night until eventually I got it and it felt good.
Yeah. That's one of my problems, I think, with not being able to finish things. Persistence. I give up too easy, or I give up because I take the failure too hard, I think is my issue.
Well, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, if I die in Dark Souls, I really feel it, and then I feel really stupid. And then
it is disheartening.
I feel stupid for feeling stupid about getting butthurt over a video game, and then I'm like, okay, take a breath, let's go again. And then I do the same fucking thing, make the same exact mistake, or make the mistake again, but be like 5 steps to the right instead. Yeah. And then a vicious cycle of self-hate.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of comes with the territory of those games.
Yeah.
I feel like for a lot of people, people are gonna like see all the hype around Elden Ring and be like, "Oh my god, this is an amazing game! It looks so cool," and they play it, and then, like, I mentioned, like one of the first things that happens when you step outside is you can see all the different things you can do. Well, another thing you can do is see a boss that you obviously cannot kill.
Yeah.
like you literally, I mean, you could probably if you were, stubborn
Super
enough.
pro. Yeah.
You could probably do it, but like you're not meant to fight that boss. You're meant to run past it. Spoilers, but yeah, the very first boss you come across, do not fight it. Just run past it, fucking run away from it. Do not fight it. And that's kind of the thing with Souls games. Like, and eventually you hit a point sometimes where you're like, fuck this, I've died 50 times, I'm just gonna run. I'm gonna run through this. And
just see how far you can get without dying.
Yeah,
in the same area, and then you die and get real mad, but you knew you were gonna die anyway.
Right.
Because you were just running, and you already lost, 85,000 souls. Yeah.
Not a big deal. Just don't think of it as a big deal. Don't look at that number. You see like 50,000
already
souls
I'm
gone.
Getting heated just imagining it,
It hurts every time it happens, but if you can get over that pain, then you can make it through. I feel like playing Monster Hunter actually has helped a lot because, I think a lot about iframes, those are invincibility frames for those of you.
Invincibility frames.
It's like in Dark Souls or Souls games, when you roll, there's a brief period of time when you are rolling that you can't be hit. So as long as you're timing it right, like a sword swing is coming at you and you dodge it, you can kind of dodge through it or over it. I feel like that's helped a lot because Monster Hunter has that a lot,
Yeah.
Like, you have a fucking wyvern flying right towards you and you dive towards it. And in that brief invincibility period, you end up diving through it and missing the attack that would one-shot you. There's a lot of that. Yeah. So if you kind of approach it with that mentality, it's better.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I always sometimes forget the mechanics of the game while I'm in the game because I get so absorbed by it.
Oh, sure,
and then I get absorbed, But with the Monster Hunter thing, for sure, a big part of the skill that I developed out of that was the studying the enemy, like, move patterns and things. That if you see a Rathalos raising its head and whatever, and it's gonna shoot a fireball, or the fucking Raytheon's gonna go up in the air, and then if it pauses in front of you for a second and tracks you, and then it does the flipping poison tail attack. Yeah,
you can dodge it.
I learned how to dodge that perfectly because I just fought so many of them, But it was that, the studying and the repetition. It just.
I think if you go into Elden Ring or any Souls game with that kind of, like, if you fight a boss once and you die, obviously, I mean, a really hard boss, you're gonna get swiped, or you're gonna die. Then you go into it the second time, and instead of just going for the attack, you stay on the defensive and kind of try and study its moveset. That's how you improve.
Yeah, it's getting over that hurdle of the thing with, like, Monster Hunter getting knocked out and carted. Doesn't, like, yes, it fucking sucks, it hurts your soul. But dying in, like, a Souls game, and it pops up on screen like, you died. You didn't just cart, you didn't just get knocked out. You're fucking dead, bro. If this was real life and you didn't get multiple lives, you taking that spear to the belly, that's permanent, bro.
That's an L. That's a big L.
It's a fat L, bro. Shit, take your lumps, man. It hurts more to die in those games.
Yeah.
So it's harder to get over the here's a failure, learn from it, grow from it, kind of get over the emotional response of I'm mad and I'm sad now because I'm mad. And this game is unfair and there should be difficulty settings.
That has been a big point of contention with Elden Ring, is people are
I've heard a little bit about that.
Why aren't there difficulty settings? There should be an easy mode. And like, no, there shouldn't.
No,
Like, I'm sorry.
No.
That's not how these games were designed.
Yeah.
You can overcome it.
Exactly. Or you can't, and you learn your limits.
Yeah.
Or you learn your weaknesses, and then hopefully you grow from it instead of just stagnate on those weaknesses. But I feel like that's what I've done with the Souls games. I've only completed one for real, but I've enjoyed the fuck out of every bit of any of them that I've played.
Yeah. They are really they are a genre-defining game. I'll say that. When Dark Souls 1 came out, I was very that was such a different game from anything I'd played up to that point that it was like, wow. I just got my ass handed to me by a skeleton. By a level 1, by a skeleton that's in level 1 area. I got my ass handed to me by
Oh my god, yes. That little graveyard in the very beginning.
Like, yeah, because you have a choice to go left or right, and you go left,
Like,
and
let's
there's
go left.
a bunch of fucking skeletons just gank you. And that's it.
Yeah, you get fucked up the first time around, and then you go back and you're like, all right, I can take these skeletons now. But then you knock them out, or you break them up, and you're like, all right, I feel good, let's keep going. But no, they reform, because guess what? You need a fucking holy weapon.
Or they're spinning on, or they're like rolling on wheels.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they do some crazy shit. They do crazy shit you don't expect. Or you'll be like in an area and you're like, oh fuck, I'm doing great, and then you'll step on a trigger and a fucking boulder falls down on you, and it one-shots you. Like after you've like progressed so much, like it's a constant uphill struggle with Souls games, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. Unfortunately, Elden Ring has been hyped so much that I feel like it's gonna draw in. I don't want to say casual players, but casual players.
Yeah.
Want to compare it to something like Skyrim, where you do have a difficulty slider, and if things get too hard, you can set it down to medium or whatever.
Yeah. I have heard it be compared to Skyrim by people who aren't just you. So, it for sure there's a threshold of popularity of a game where if it sells X amount of copies, like, that's good. It means that the company's going to get more money. They're going to hopefully make more games like it in the future. But that also means it sold that many copies and that many people have played the game. And what are the chances that that many people are hardcore loser gamers,
Not very high.
Not as high as you would think.
Video game market is filled with a lot of different folks nowadays. I mean,
yeah, it's huge. It's
yeah,
insanely huge.
Like the people that like Stardew Valley, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of correlation between them and Souls player. I mean, there might be, but like people that exclusively placed games like Stardew Valley. And then they see, and maybe Skyrim, or to some extent, like they dabble in other games like that. And they're like, oh, Elden Ring, that looks really cool. That looks like a really cool world. I'd like to explore that. And then they jump in. The first thing that happens to them is this fucking thing on a horse, or just fucking one-shots them. Like, if you haven't had experience with that, with the Souls game, like, that's going to be really disheartening for you. Especially after, like, the tutorial area that's kind of easy. And you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I can parry. That's super easy. I know how to do a guard counter. That's awesome. And then they step out into the real world, and fucking this giant thing on a horse just one-shots them with a spear. And
straight spear right
in the asshole.
And they're like,
okay, well, that's a boss, so obviously I have to fight that, logic, video game logic. Like, that's a boss. I have to kill it. Well, not in a Souls game. You can, or at least in Elden Ring, you can just fucking skip that thing. If there's not a
There's
fog
not a fog
wall,
gate.
you can skip it.
Yeah. There we go. Yes.
You don't
There's
have
not
to
a
fight
fog
it.
wall.
And most times, I mean, you can wait and like wait for people to find a build that you can cheese with if that's your way of doing it.
Right. And that's valid. That's totally valid. That was part of Game Shark shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Is you would get a game and
I mean, Dark Souls,
even
you
if
can summon. If you really
which
need
is
help,
super handy. Yeah.
you can summon someone to come and help you. They even added these
just
like
hope
summons you can do without summoning people. It's like a
What?
Yeah, they're called
What does that mean?
well, they're like I mean they're summons like you can like summon a mage to come and help you. You have to find them in the game first, and you have to have enough magic.
Or are they the NPC summons?
No, those also they're different.
What?
There's like it's a magic that you don't have to like spec points into, but like you can summon. You find them in dungeons or whatever, and it'll be like a cell sword or like a banished knight, and you can summon them using your magic, and they act like NPCs. So that's another way of.
Okay.
I mean, I know there's a
pretty
lot of
cool.
contention that people are like, oh well, that's easy mode, and it kind of is with some
Yeah.
of them, but. It's just another way that you can accomplish a goal. I mean, there's no shame in using them. I've used them. Typically, if I've been throwing my fucking head at a boss for like 30 minutes, I'll be like, fuck it. I can summon something.
Honestly, just that even a distraction for part of a battle with the boss could make all the difference.
If you get a second to heal or a second to replenish your mana, or FP as it's called.
FP, fuck points.
Yeah, fuck point. I don't even know what the FP stands for. I just know it's the core. It relates to mana. It's your, it's tied to all your like weapon arts and shit.
Your mana is your libido, and
essentially.
Nice. That's cool.
Sorry, we just talked about Souls game for like 20 minutes.
No,
but.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, because I enjoyed it. I mean, I really, really want to get Elden Ring. I just don't want to buy any more games for my PS4 because I'm sure it will not run that great. And my PC, I think I can run the minimum specs on it, but it won't look how I want it to.
You may as well play it on your PS4.
Really?
I don't know. When I played it on my Xbox One S, which is Xbox has a very weird way of naming their consoles. It did not look very good. It was capped to 30 FPS, and it was just. It looked good for what it. It's amazing that it runs on it, but no. On the Series S, it looks so much better.
Man, the Xbox Series. Wait. The Series
S. No, Series. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
I already forgot what you said.
There's like the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X. Then there's the Xbox Series S and Series X, which are the next gen.
Okay.
Because Xbox
that's
is like
one keyword difference.
Yeah, I know. It's super confusing.
The series instead of just okay, all right.
It's why they as soon as the Series S and X came out, they had to like cancel production of the 1S and 1X because some poor kid is gonna be like, oh, I want a Series X for Christmas, and then he gets a 1X, and that's last gen. Mm-hmm. It's not as not as smooth as PS4, PS5.
Yeah.
No idea why they did that.
Yeesh. Xbox. Just make Xbox 3 already.
Yeah, just make the Xbox 3.
Honestly.
Xbox 4. Just give up the weird names, man.
Yeah, just start over and just be like
put yourself
Xbox
in a
2.
hole with the 360 and you didn't name the next one 720. Come on.
Yeah. It was like the Xbox One, and their reasoning was like, oh, that's one rotation and blah blah blah. But like, dude, you were already had the Tony Hawk fans hooked with the 360.
Yeah.
Just do a 720, dude. Do a 5. I mean, hell, just split the difference. Go 540. That's a rotation.
Yeah.
I feel good about my circle rotations because I played a
Xbox
lot
pi
of Tony Hawk.
squared. How much is that in
And
radians?
it's yeah. And it's all circle terms, and it's an Xbox. See how confusing this is, Microsoft? What the fuck
I know,
did you
right?
do?
Like, what did they do?
What?
Like, it's yeah.
Guys.
Good console, but man, whoever is there naming doing
man.
it just needs to be let go.
Honestly.
PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4,
3,
PlayStation
4.
5. I mean, there's PS Pro, whatever. But come on.
Yeah.
Nintendo is also
It's
kind of bad,
straightforward.
but at least you know that they're different. They kind of fucked up with the Wii U.
Yeah, they also fucked up with the 3DS and the new 3DS.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not uncommon in the industry.
It's not uncommon.
Sega
but it's
did
like,
the same thing. They did the Sega 32, the Sega 32X, Sega Saturn, Sega CD. They were really bad about it. The Atari Jaguar.
Atari Jaguar? That was the thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like the Atari
I'm not a
2600.
video game historian.
Yeah.
Wow. Because there were 2,600 people who bought it.
Probably. I mean, it was basically a Pong machine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones. Magnavox Odyssey.
Oh.
See,
I didn't realize it was a video game console. I
3DO.
thought that was just a VCR.
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure Magnavox Odyssey was one. It's like one of the first ones. I was up there with like the console that only played Pong. I can't remember what that's called, but like the only game it played was Pong.
The oscilloscope. That's the only. It only played Pong.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
heart defects or whatever. Whatever you measure with an oscilloscope.
I'm trying to think of the one that was like, it was like a console, but all it did was like put lights on the screen, and you had to like put I don't know what you call it, like you know how old
like a stencil.
Yeah, you had to put like a stencil.
And you put
on it.
Yeah, I remember seeing stuff like that.
I can't remember what that. I think that might be the Magnavox Odyssey, but
maybe.
But yeah, it was like you had to put a stencil. This is old. I mean, this is older than us by a long shot.
Yeah,
by like 20 some odd years,
sure.
almost. But yeah, you had to like
This
put a
is shit
stencil on the
that-
TV,
yeah.
and like you had a little like dial that you could move. You know, it was kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. And you kind of had to follow the rules. Like, you had to follow the rules yourself.
Yeah. Back when video games were still kind of like video board games.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were also
Crazy.
like half a year's salary to buy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think about.
Right? Like, that was just what would be probably our parents as youths.
Yeah.
Would have played something like that if they had access to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not including like arcades, which were, you know, computers essentially
Right.
dedicated to a video game.
Dedicated to pumping milking quarters out of children.
Oh yeah, and they sure as fuck did. I mean, God, Pac-Man
they
alone was like a god tier video game.
Yeah.
Still is. I mean, it still holds up to this day. But
Do you want me to remind you of the Pac-Man trivia from Scott Pilgrim?
oh yes, please do.
Pac-Man, his name came from Paku Paku, which was Japanese, but something about means flapping your head around. It's like an onomatopoeia. But they changed it to Pac-Man in the States because they thought kids would vandalize the name or something.
That sounds right. I think I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. And he was
He brings
literally
it up in
like
the movie a couple
concepted
times.
from a pizza. Like the dude, someone took a slice of pizza off a whole pizza, and he was like, "Oh my fucking god!"
Yeah, his brain just like explodes. Holy fucking shit. It's time to revolutionize the world.
And he did. He sure as fuck did.
Wow. Shout out to whoever created Pac-Man.
God, I wish we should know his name. I mean, he is a...
We should.
Yeah.
There should be statues of him.
I've watched so many video game documentaries.
Capitals.
I feel like I should know his name, but God, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Right.
unknown Japanese man.
Sorry. I want to say probably in the Nobunaga family.
Probably.
Those guys have ambition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Oda Nobunaga. United Japan.
You know, we're getting to
Feudal
a
days,
point
I
in
think.
time where you could like actually study video game history as like a career.
Yeah. Like you could almost specialize it in like your bachelor's degree in history or something like that.
Like a minor in video game history.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you would specialize and write a whole dissertation or something about Pac-Man, and you would have to cite this podcast because I said the exact fact
Yeah,
of what
right.
happened. So
Or a minor
I'm
in
the credible
Mario.
source. Minor. Yeah, majoring in video game history and minoring in both Nintendo and Sega. So yeah, I kind of know what I'm talking about. One day, there's going to
One
be a
day.
smug video game historian out there.
Shout out to Video Game Historian on YouTube, which is where I learn most of the
Oh,
stuff.
is that a real...
It is.
I have
It is a
not-
real thing. He's actually very high quality YouTuber, a top tier. If you really are interested in video game history, I would check him out for sure. His video on Iwata, the CEO of Nintendo, very good.
Ooh.
Very tugs on the heartstrings a lot. 'Cause that's a dude who cared about
Nice.
video games.
Oh, for sure. I don't know him personally, but I
No.
also haven't seen anything about him. I just know his name.
Yeah, Iwata-san. Rest in peace.
Iwata-san. Yeah.
The big fact everybody knows about him is that he took a pay cut because the Wii U sucked.
Man.
Took a pay cut so his
that's-
employees could get paid the same.
That's a bro move, man.
Yeah.
That's what a dude. What a guy.
All they had to do was call it the Wii 2. That's all they had to do.
Just name your consoles in a number order. Every company out there, come on.
This is coming from a guy that bought the Wii U like the first year it came out. Just, if you
Super
didn't do
hyped
your
on it.
research, then most people are going to be like, "Oh, that's just like a add-on for the Wii." No, it was a whole ass console.
It was an
great
entire
library.
console.
The great library. No. What a shame.
Where else are you gonna remaster Twilight Princess?
Twilight Princess and
What was the other one they remastered? They remastered Skyward Sword on Wii U?
no, they remastered oh my god, what's it called? Well, I'm drawing a blank. The one on GameCube.
Phantom Hourglass? No,
Wind
Twilight
Waker.
Princess was it? Wind Waker.
Wind Waker
Okay.
was the other one. That one was actually like a good
Oh, that's right, that's
remaster.
right. Yeah.
But we digress.
Still.
This has turned into a video game
Still.
history podcast, video game theory. Not even ludology. We just talked about video game history.
No, not even Ludology, the study of Ludens. which is in Death Stranding.
Do you not
That's
know what
Death Stranding.
ludology is?
No, I don't know what Ludology. What is Ludology?
Ludology, I don't have an exact definition for it, but the example that I've always been told is like in Uncharted, you know how whenever you get shot, he doesn't die, Nathan doesn't die.
Right.
It's that. Because he should die, but he doesn't.
Yeah, you don't just like shrug off a bunch of bullets to the
Yes.
shoulder, or wrap up your arm and you're fully healed.
I don't want to call it game theory. Maybe video game theory is better. Like,
It's-
you know.
Sort of the that idea of like cognitive dissonance.
Yes. Yeah. You get stabbed in the chest in Dark Souls, but you don't die from it because of that.
Yeah, because you have an HP bar. So, like HP, MP bars are literally abstractions of things.
I think that's what it is. I think it is an abstraction of.
This is turning into a Video Game 3 podcast. It's an abstraction of one's health and well-being.
Right.
Quantified into.
In Uncharted, they call it luck when because he's just like dodging. Bullets are grazing him and he's not getting hit. Except for the one that kills him. That's the one that kills him. And then it's like, he doesn't really, he dies from it, but he's not really dead, because if he was dead, then the game wouldn't go on. And we can get into that on a different episode. This episode has been the video game history.
Yeah. One more example that I remember from that before we digress. It's sort of like you're running around with guns and shooting, and the gameplay is a bunch of shooting. But then when you get to a cutscene, it's like a big deal when somebody else pulls out a gun.
Yes.
I think you talked about it with the Yakuza, right?
Yeah. If somebody you can shoot people all you want in the game, but when it comes to a cutscene, if the main character is using a gun against somebody, that is a big deal, because that is a story-related use of gun and not a gameplay-related use of gun.
Mm-hmm.
Would be that would be what ludology is. And
okay. Huh. That's interesting.
Or, well, ludology would be like the study of how that works, or how those systems work.
Ludology?
Ludology, yeah.
The study of Ludens?
The study of Ludens?
It's first grade, Skylar.
That's just how it be.
Death Stranding uses the word Ludens a lot.
Oh, does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, which is weird. It's weird that you bring the Luden, and there's a whole song of, I want to say it's either Escape the Fate or Pierce the Veil that did it, or maybe it was one of those bands did a song for Death Stranding about Ludens, and it was actually a pretty good song. The soundtrack is pretty hot, pretty banging. Kojima-san knows how to make a soundtrack, and now we're getting into that's we'll save that for the MGS special episode, which is coming
spoilers
eventually. Yeah, sooner than I think I say eventually every time, but like it's actually in progress.
It's a work in progress now, I would say. Yeah,
that's fair to say. So look out for that, listeners. If you enjoy the Metal Gear series, or you just like us talking about something that we both take very seriously
and both enjoy very much, and has had an impact on our lives in some way, shape, or form.
Whew. I tell you what, I would not be as versed in like nuclear politics and things like that if it weren't for Metal Gear.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. I probably wouldn't even care.
Nope. I'd be like, oh yeah, nuclear bombs, that's cool. They're like really big bombs, right? No, you guys. Nukes are legit, serious.
Yep.
Death incarnate. You know what I'm saying?
Metal Gear Solid pilled.
Mm-hmm. Wake up, sheeple. You're just genome soldiers. All right. Wow. All right.
Wow, we filled up a whole hour with that. Wow.
We filled up a whole hour. And it's funny that we we use the like triangle Elden Ring strategy for the and we talked way more about Elden Ring and triangle strategy in this episode.
Yeah, you're right. That's great. We'll have to come up with some kind of unrelated title for this one.
Yeah. We'll
we could talk about how we title it after the new Kirby game. We talked nothing.
Yeah,
about
what is that called?
Kirby
in the fucking 1,000-mile mouth.
Yeah, Kirby in the myth of yore.
Kirby and the what that mouth do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Well,
anyway,
thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you enjoyed our little spiel about video games. and the theory thereof, and a little bit of the history of video games. Perhaps we will go more into detail on that later. That would be an interesting episode, I think, is to talk about the history of some of these crazy consoles that came out in the past.
Oh man. As a little poor boy growing up, I was a console gamer.
Yeah,
I didn't have the money for a PC, so
grew up with Tiger Electronics little wristwatch games that.
Oh yeah.
Were just like little LCD things they were just. It's hard to explain to someone that's never had it, but they were awful. They were terrible, but I loved them. McDonald's gave them out.
Nice. Yeah.
Like Sonic. But we'll get into
Sonic soccer game.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That game was fucking awesome.
Yeah, those rocked. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, later, everyone.
I love you.
Me too.